What's up, YouTube? I'm going back to the battlefield today. So here we are at Deep Cut. This is where the Union soldiers got pushed out by the Confederates. What I'm going to do today is walk to the backside of Brawner Farm where the Confederate soldiers launched their attack. So right down here in this creek bed, this is where a bunch of Union sharpshooters got pinned down by the Confederate skirmishers, and a lot of them ended up dying right here. Going on the second Manassas Trail right now. I'm walking over to Brawner Farm, which is that way. That's where General Stonewall Jackson had his men attack Union positions right here on this location. If you come out here in the summertime, all this grass is really lush and there's pretty flowers and butterflies. Right now, it kind of just looks like a wasteland here. Pretty nice view once you get to the top. My car is all the way back there at the parking lot. Another reason why the Union lost this battle is because General Longstreet had his men lined up down there at the unfinished railroad, and they ended up flanking Union positions right here. Now we're at the Groveton Monument. This was put up for the Union soldiers who died here during the Second Battle of Manassas. It used to have a bunch of field artillery shells surrounded around the base. A bunch of souvenir hunters came by and ended up snatching them up. You can see right here on this picture. If you follow the trail behind me, that goes to the unfinished railroad. The Confederate General James Longstreet had his men set up, and they were flanking the Union position from the northeast over there. Over to the southwest is Brawner Farm, and that's where General Stonewall Jackson had his men flank on Union positions right up here on Deep Cut. When you're out here in the summer, be careful, because I've seen so many snakes on this trail, and they're always just slithering right out of this grass. So now we are on the Deep Cut Loop Trail. This one is super peaceful because you can't really hear any traffic out here. So if you're looking for some peace and quiet, definitely come to Deep Cut. So right down here in this railroad bank, this is where a bunch of the Confederate soldiers were sitting and shooting at all the Union soldiers standing out in this field. Golden hour, so nice out. It's nice. That sunset is vicious right now, right in my eyes. Got some stairs here. Sunset behind me. So freaking nice. And that's where we're heading, right over there. Forgot how long the hike was over here. Here we go, walking into the sun again. And it looks just awesome. So now I'm picking up a slight jog because the amount of time it took me to get over here, I'm definitely going to get to the car way after the sun goes down. So you're actually not supposed to be on the battlefield after dark. Something in the grass over there too. So I'm not going to walk all the way over there, but right through those trees, that's the Brawner farmhouse, and that's where General Stonewall Jackson had his men flank the Union soldiers. So this is where the Confederates had all their artillery lined up, and the Union soldiers were coming right over that hill and just getting hammered from Confederate defenses and their artillery. Right over this hill behind me, that's where the Union was trying to attack from. And Confederate soldiers were lined up all along this perimeter, holding very strong defenses. I'd say the greatest significance about this place and the Manassas Battlefield in general, and I was talking about this in my last video, the first battle of Manassas, people thought the Union would just steamroll the Confederacy. And so that's why people were having picnics, because they thought it would just be one quick battle and it would be over. But it was here where people realized that this is actually a problem, and the Civil War lasted for 4 more years after that. So this is pretty much where the Civil War kicked off, and it ended in Virginia too, in Appomattox, at a courthouse in 1865 when Robert E. Lee surrendered. So I gotta make some ground back because it's 6 o'clock. The main reason why so many people died in the Civil War was because of the infections and diseases they would get from getting wounded. There's no real methods of sterilization back then, so if you got a bullet in the arm, they would use a saw to cut it off, and that saw was the same saw that they used to cut another guy's arm off, and it was probably the same saw that was used to cut another guy's leg off. So there's no good methods of sanitation, and so many people died. Things like gangrene, stuff like that. What happens when you have gangrene is that your body tissue pretty much decays away, and it's not pretty. So with all the crowded field hospitals, if you had 10 guys wounded in a tent, there was a very high chance that most of them would die. So like I was saying the other day, Civil War was a very rough time, and I'm grateful to be alive in 2024 because 1860s were a little bit different. They used to give Abraham Lincoln mercury pills because they thought they would make him live longer. Mercury was actually considered a common medicine back then, and doctors would prescribe it to people to treat things like syphilis and typhoid fever. Now with the research we've done today, we know that mercury is actually not good for you at all. It's getting dark. I know I didn't walk over there, but back there at the Brawner farmhouse, they have another one of those interactive maps that shows exactly where the Confederate and Union soldiers were standing during this battle. All the Confederates were lined up right here along the unfinished railroad and taking cover and shooting at the Union soldiers coming up here through Deep Cut. I think a big reason why the South put up such a fight is because a lot of their generals had a lot of really good military experience. The North had more resources and they had a bigger army in the South. It was definitely a surprise here at the Manassas Battlefield in the North when the South actually won these battles. The Union eventually stopped the Confederates up in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The South only got as far as Gettysburg. That was pretty much the turning point for the Union in the Civil War. Right now, I'm passing back by the Groveton Monument. I'm heading back to my car down there at the Deep Cut parking lot. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more informative and exciting outdoor content.